Good morning, everyone. This is the notes for Earth Science. This is November 22nd, 2016. What are the methods of soil formation? The do now says describe two forms of mechanical weathering and one type of chemical weathering. You might want to revert back to your notes for this one. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Today's mini lesson, we're going to talk about what is soil, and the activity is the rate of weathering. So there's going to be a handout that'll go with that. You should get that in class. Summary, review, share out, then lastly, homework, castle learning assignment due tomorrow night by midnight. Please make sure you get that done. Now, if you had a chance to look through the notes, you probably figured out that we've got some mechanical weathering, which are physical breakdown, things smacking against each other causing breakdown, or chemical weathering, and chemical weathering is caused by things like acid rain. So two forms of mechanical, that would be abrasion, that would be from like wind picking up sand and rubbing it against another particle, causing it to smooth out. Another one might be plant action, when you have water go into a crack, freeze. That'd be frost action. That which is another one, when you have water go into a crack, freeze, and spread it apart. But you also have plant action, where a seed might actually start growing in a crack and pulling it apart. Chemical weathering, primary one would be acid rain, and we all have another one called oxidation. So, first question, what is soil? Soil is really just nothing more than a mixture of broken down bedrock, organic material, which is things like dead plants, dead animals, things that come off of animals, waste products from animals. Areas that have little rainfall typically have a poor soil. Now, when you start talking about bedrocks, really we talk about the bedrock type. So, like, let's say you have bedrock that's made out of limestone, you're probably going to have soil that is rich in broken up bits of limestone, which is basically calcite. Vegetation and a gentle slope keep soil in place. So if you have a hill and your house is on a hill and you're afraid that the hill is going to wear away and it's going to cause problems with your house, plant small trees and bushes around it. The more plants and trees are going to hold the soil back and it's keep it from wearing away. Same thing is true if you go to the beach. If you go to Jones Beach, you'll notice that they have a lot of those grassy dunes. Sure, it's sand, but the grass is what's going to hold back a lot of the sand. Now, as far as types of soil is concerned, we got two main types. We got residual, which is formed from local bedrock. Think of it as like the term residue. So anything that breaks up makes that. And then we've got transported. Transported is it comes from a different location. Now, Long Island, Brooklyn, we're made up of mainly transported soil. Our soil was pretty much all brought here from Connecticut during the last ice age. Remember, Brooklyn is very new. Question is, how can you tell? So if the soil composition matches the bedrock, it's probably residual. So if we have granitic bedrock underneath us and the soil is made out of granite, well, it's probably the same thing. If the soil's composition is different from the bedrock, then it's probably transported. Example, granite bedrock with calcite soil. Transported. So we have some soil profiles. Horizons, these are the layers. We have our topsoil at the top. We have some subsoil, which is a little bit more poor. It doesn't have as much organic. And then we have weathered bedrock, slightly weathered rock, little to no organic material. So you can see it's really the richest at the top. And this is a real version of it. You can see the ground, and then that dark one, a little bit lighter, and then the lightest one at the bottom. And here's a real one. As vegetation goes up, soil thickness will go up. As biological activity goes up, soil thickness will go up. So you can see these two are direct relationships. Now this last one, as you have a greater slope, soil thickness will actually decrease. So the higher the hill, the less the soil wants to stay on the hill. And here's a regions question for us. If you're taking a look at this image, you've got dark brown black soil, high organic. You got the medium, which is tan to orange soil, high clay. And then you got the light gray to black soil, coarse rock fragments. Which two processes produce the layer of dark brown to black soil? In this case, it was 3, weathering and biological activity. Which change would cause soil layer X to increase in thickness? So there's soil layer X, it's got the roots inside of it. What would make it get thicker? In this case, it would probably be things like leaves falling down on it, rotting, and increasing it. In that case, it would be biological activity. Alright, and last but not least, this is the activity for today. This is actually considered a lab. Mechanical and chemical weathering. Basically, you're going to look at the type of weathering that dominates an area. Is really going to be the climate. Specifically, the major factors that control climate, thus weathering, are precipitation and temperature. The graph below indicates general relationships. So if you take a look here, you can see this chart. You've got the amount of precipitation, the amount of rain that goes by is here. You've got the average yearly temperature. So let's say that the average temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. That's relatively warm. As we move up this line for 20 degrees C, you can see if you've got a lot of rain, like 175 centimeters a year of rain, you're strongly chemical. That's mainly the kind of reaction that's going to happen. But if you're at that same 20 degrees Celsius average temperature and you only get 100 centimeters of rain, you're at moderately chemical. So as you can tell, the colder it is, it becomes more mechanical. The warmer it is, the more chemical the breakdown. Alright? And then there's really just a couple questions on the back. Not all that difficult. This will count as an entire lab.